Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Omega Seamaster Diver 300M Coaxial Master Chronometer. This watch is available for €5,150. You can purchase the watch from Chronex.com online or alternatively in person at their boutiques. All their watches are Chronex certified original by their in-house watchmakers, and all their watches are covered by the Chronex 24-month warranty. So firstly, let's look at the three cards that come with the watch, and then I'll talk you through the specifications of the piece. So the Omega Seamaster comes with three cards. This is the pictogram card. On the reverse of the pictogram card there are various symbols which correspond to the specification of the piece. One also gets an international warranty card, and as you can see this is dated with the purchase date 16th of December 2020, so this is a brand new unworn piece. And on the reverse it details the terms and conditions of the international warranty. And lastly, one also gets the Master Chronometer Certificate card. And on the reverse it states that this piece is METAS certified as a Master Chronometer. METAS is the Federal Institute of Meteorology. So with regards to the specification of the piece, this is the Omega Seamaster 300M Coaxial Master Chronometer. 42mm case diameter. It has a 49.9mm lug-to-lug measurement, 13.7mm thickness including the domed sapphire crystal. It has a 20mm lug width, and the bracelet, which is a 5-link bracelet, is straight and parallel. It doesn't taper. It's 20mm at the lugs and 20mm at the 2-button push clasp. The 2-button push clasp has two triggers and is beautifully signed with the Omega emblem, as you can see. Good firm resistance to the 2-button push triggers, and the interior is solid milled stainless steel as one would expect. Screw down exhibition case back glazed with sapphire crystal, which provides an effective hermetic seal to 300 meters of water resistance. The clasp is well executed, and as you can see it has a push button diver's extension. One has a diver's extension leak, one can fold out, as you can see, solid milled stainless steel done to a high standard, and also inside there is a push button. So one can activate the push button by pressing it with one's thumb, and that adjusts the length of the clasp using the ratcheting mechanism. Very well executed. Absolute pleasure to operate the ratcheting clasp. As you can see, each click of the ratchet has a good positive feel to it, and one can precisely fine-tune the length of the bracelets using that on the fly, alternatively using the diver's extension to fit the watch over a wetsuit, for example. So it works very well. Now with regards to the rest of the specification, we have a helium escape valve at the 10 o'clock position, which is an iconic feature of this Seamaster. Brushed satin finish to the flanks, and also brushed satin finish to the solid stainless steel bezel, which has large scallops. The bezel is inlaid with a ceramic bezel insert, and the ceramic bezel insert has white enamel on the Arabic numerals and minute ticks, which is very hard and scratch resistant. So let's test the bezel action. Nice light resistance, good positive clicks which are audible, no lateral side-to-side play whatsoever, and no back play whatsoever. Perfect bezel action. This is something that Omega do very well on the Seamaster. Absolutely perfect bezel action. I like the loud audible clicks, and I also like the firm loud ratcheting mechanism. One can feel each click in the 120 click unidirectional bezel, and needless to say the Lume pip and triangle on the bezel align perfectly with the double indices on the dial. So a very well executed bezel. Also it's very aesthetically pleasing with the large scallops to the bezel, brushed satin finish which complements the brushed satin finish to the flanks of the case. The top of the case is mirror polished to a flawless finish, and I like the large bevels which are machined on the edge of the case, and they mark the transition between the top of the case and the brushed satin finish flanks. The underside of the case is mirror polished, and the screw down exhibition case back, which is glazed with sapphire crystal, does an excellent job of displaying the movement used, which is the Omega Caliber 8800 Master Chronometer movement. One thing I really like about the Caliber 8800 is it is beautifully decorated with Geneva stripes in arabesque finishing. I like the arabesque finishing on the bridges to the movement and also on the rotor. It's an absolute pleasure to look at through the sapphire crystal. Now with regards to the dial, it's another feature that I really like about the watch. The dial is made from ceramic, as is the bezel insert, and this is something that Omega do very well. The ceramic dial is laser cut with waves, and it's just an absolute pleasure to look at the glossy finish of the laser cut ceramic dial, and it really does complement the ceramic bezel. The blue tone of the dial and also the ceramic bezel insert match perfectly. Good legibility from the applied indices and also the partially skeletonized sword hands. I like the fact the date complication is cited at 6 o'clock rather than 3 o'clock as per earlier versions of the Seamaster 300. So let's test the crown. Solid stainless steel screw down crown, coin edge finished and signed with the Omega symbol, as you can see. Absolutely silky smooth to unscrew. It's something that Omega do very well on the Seamaster. No resistance whatsoever when unscrewing it. Characteristic pop of the caliber 8800 master chronometer movement. I can pull it out to the final position to set the time, and also it has a quick set date complication in the first click position, and the quick set date complication works perfectly as well, as you can see. So very well executed crown operation. So I'm just going to screw it back down. Absolutely silky smooth. It interfaces very well between the internal thread and the external thread of the crown tube. It's just an absolute pleasure to use. One can manually wind the movement to top up the power reserve to its maximum 55 hours, and it's just a very pleasant screw down crown to use. So at 10 o'clock we have the helium escape valve, and I'll also test that. Again, silky smooth to unscrew. Coin edge finished and of course signed with HE for helium escape valve. Absolute pleasure to screw it back down again. When unscrewed, the helium escape valve still provides an effective hermetic seal to 50 meters to prevent accidental ingress of water if a diver forgets to screw it back down again. Now, with regards to the finishing throughout, the finishing of the brushed satin finishing to the bezel, the flanks of the case and the bracelet are all perfect. I like the finishing of the 5-link bracelet. Also, the end links are pivoted, as you can see. So although it does have a rather long 49.9mm lug-to-lug measurement, the pivoted end links do allow for extra articulation. So that means the bracelets can articulate underneath that long 49.9mm lug-to-lug measurement to get a comfortable fit. Brushed satin finish to the flanks, nice large screw heads to the screw pins in the bracelet, and I like the contrast of the mirror polishing to the centre links. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now just bear with me and I'm going to adjust the bracelet. Right. Nice positive click to the 2-button push clasp. Now, although it doesn't taper, and personally I prefer bracelets to taper, for example from 20mm down to 16mm, the 20mm straight bracelet does balance the 42mm head of the piece very well. Incredibly comfortable piece to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. I would say if you're a collector with a smaller wrist of 6 to 7 inches, you may find the 42mm case to wear with too much wrist presence, and therefore you may prefer to wear this on the rubber strap or alternatively a NATO strap. But however, if you're a collector with a larger wrist of 7 to 8 inches, you will find the 20mm straight bracelet to perfectly balance the 42mm head of the piece. 49.9 is a rather long lug-to-lug measurement, so really this is best suited if you're a collector with a larger wrist. But however, the 13.7mm thickness isn't very tall as one would expect. It will easily slip underneath a shirt cuff because the domed sapphire crystal has a lovely curved profile to it. So very aesthetically pleasing piece to look at. One thing I really like about it is the use of double AR coating on the domed crystal. Usually sapphire crystals only have AR coating on the underside, but Omega use double AR coating. Both the top side and underside of the domed sapphire crystal have anti-reflective coating, and that's a noticeable enhancement. As you can see, when I tilt it in the light, the double AR coating does reduce the glare and the reflective property of the glossy ceramic dial and applied indices. So very aesthetically pleasing piece to look at. Feel good factor is outstanding, and also comfort level is outstanding. However, there is something I need to bring to your attention. It is a very heavy piece at 183 grams, so it does have wrist presence at 42mm, and it also does have heft. So I would say to you, if you're looking for 150 grams, you need to consider wearing it on either a NATO strap or a rubber strap alternatively. So let's do a Lume test and we'll see how the Lume performs when it's charged up to its absolute maximum. Now this uses Swiss Superluminova, as one would expect, so I've got high expectations of the performance of the Lume. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to its absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. This is top grade Superluminova, the very best of Swiss Superluminova. It's glowing very brightly, and it's also continuing to glow for a good length of time. Although the sword hands are partially skeletonized, they have good plots of Lume applied, and one can clearly differentiate between the minute hand and the hour hand. The applied indices have good thick layers of Superluminova, and they are glowing very brightly, as is the Lume pip on the ceramic bezel insert. So the Lume is perfect. It really is top quality, and Amiga deserve full credit for not cutting any corners with regards to the quality of the top grade Superluminova used. Now, with regards to the movement, I'll talk you through the movement because it's one of the best aspects of this piece. It uses the caliber 8800, which is a master chronometer. It is METAS certified. 55-hour power reserve. It has a coaxial escapement, and it also is decorated with Geneva waves in arabesque finishing, as I've discussed. It runs at 25,200 vibrations per hour. It's also a highly anti-magnetic movement, and it's resistant to 15,000 Gauss. 35 joules in the movement, and it has a stated accuracy of 0 seconds to plus 5 seconds per day. Now, I think it's very impressive that the movement is highly anti-magnetic at 15,000 Gauss, and also that it is METAS certified, as well as being COSC chronometer certified. 0 to plus 5 seconds per day, master chronometer accuracy. It is an outstanding movement. Accurate, reliable, the build quality is exceptional, and the coaxial escapement is also exceptional. It is a technically excellent movement, and Amiga deserve full credit for producing a METAS master chronometer certified movement. So lastly, I'll surmise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet two criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. At €5,150, yes, this is unquestionably excellent quality, and yes, it is unquestionably excellent value. This is an outstanding piece, and really there are no negatives to it whatsoever. I think Amiga deserve full credit for producing one of the greatest Seamaster 300 meters ever. So I'm going to highly recommend it to you for your consideration. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.